Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Joseph Fountain here. And today I want to talk to you guys about 10 things that you can do with your second stimulus check if you get the second stimulus check. Now, the disclaimer is no, we have not gotten any word of exactly when a second stimulus check will happen. It has not officially been approved. No, it's not approved yet. However, one of the things on this channel and one of the things I love to talk about is preparation. So being prepared is always better than, being reactive. So today that's what we want to do. We want to talk about what you could do if you were to get a second stimulus check. So that way you can kind of have in your mind some type of preparation, because when you're not prepared and if you start getting all these different things in your mind about what can I do with the money, most cases it's always about spending it with no possible return. But hey, if you're new to this channel, I love to talk about investing. I love to talk about having wisdom around finances and just being smart with your money. So as I stated, no, we have not officially received, an approval for the stimulus bills or proposals that are out there right now. However, what we can do is we can plan as if we are going to get a second stimulus check. Now, if you're really watching all the stimulus stuff, then you'll know that, our president as well as some of the other government officials have kind of alluded to the fact that yes, we will. It's just that what the House is asking for or pushing for is not necessarily the same thing as what the Senate is asking or pushing for. It's kind of like they're torn based off of, the party, what's the majority. And so basically what's happening is, the Senate is right now just kind of trying to wait and see how things are going. They're just taking their sweet time, because that's just what they do. They just want to see how everything's going before they make a decision. They could have made a decision weeks ago or any time, but they decided that they're going to, probably going to fight back on some of the things that have been proposed. They say they don't want to spend as much money, but I don't know. But as I stated in some of the other videos, listen, it's less about you and more about the economics, our economy, and more about big business and things like that. So nevertheless, so it does look like we may get one. And so I wanted to give you 10 things to think about. And maybe one of these things can help you when you get your money. So that way you don't get the money and then it's all gone. Because you have to understand, in this pandemic and everything that we're going through, there are domino effects that will take place and that are taking place, but most people just aren't paying attention to that because it's not in the mainstream media. There's no articles really about it, but there are things that are going on right now that it can really affect us moving forward, especially when there's no foreseeable end, like in the next 6 to 12 months with everything that's going on. So number one is pay your bills. Yes, I know you're like, Joe, why are you telling me to pay my bills? I know to pay my bills. So here's the thing. It's not just about just paying your bills, but it's also being aware and understanding exactly what's going on, what things are working for you and what things are not. So for an example, here in Virginia, the moratoriums, say that twice, the moratoriums, and if you don't know what a moratorium is, it's basically a restriction or a ban. So the moratoriums for evictions and things that have happened in my state, they have been lifted. So basically landlords can now evict people because they haven't made payments on their rent, etc., for whatever reason, whether they lost their job, whatever the case is, because you can't really say what's going on with people in this pandemic, because it's been a lot, and rightfully so. A lot of people have been having a hard time, just as well as some people may not have. But for whatever reason, they're behind on their rent, which every single month since the pandemic, we've seen the lateness or either the delinquency of rent continue to rise every single month. So with that being said, one of the things you want to try to do if you are behind is to pay on your bills, because what's going to happen is if they're going to lift all these bans and things like that, especially all at once or around the same time, then you're going to have to pay those bills. And if you've just been spending money and been shopping on Amazon or just eating your heart's content out with the money that you've been making or whatever the case may be, you're going to really put yourself in a bad situation. Now, if you're someone that's been collecting unemployment and an extra $600, hopefully you aren't spending it and you're taking care of the things you need to take care of, and you're not just balling out of control if it's more money you ever made or whatever the case is. Teach his own, but just make sure you pay your bills. And because you don't really know what's going on, so you want to make sure that you just take care of your bills so that way that if anything happens, the last thing you want to do is to lose your place if you can help it. That's not what we want to see happen in this pandemic. Now, number 2, to go along with the first step is to check on your family, because if you have family that is also struggling or they're having a hard time and they might be on the brink of losing this or losing that or whatever the case may be, maybe you can take some of that money and help them so that they don't end up being evicted, for example, or if they don't end up losing something because they weren't able to keep up with their bill. Listen, if you can help your family members stay in their place, then that means they won't be coming to sleep in your place. But seriously, just check on your family and make sure they're okay during this time too. Like I said, everybody's been affected differently. Some people have actually just went back to work, and because in some states things are rolling back, they just got back to work and then they just got relayed off. So it's a crazy time out here. So now number 3 is save. Now, how do you save money when you don't know what's going to happen? So you've heard the term saving for a rainy day. Well, you don't know when the rainy days are coming, but however, you can save for them. Are you totally prepared for what's happening next? No. Now, if you've been watching any finance channels on YouTube, and most people have probably had the same tune of telling you to prepare or to be careful or to kind of, position yourself to be ready for these different things, whatever the case is, everybody's saying that for a reason. See, back in February of 2020, we kind of knew what was going on in our lives, right? We had a plan. 2020, the year vision, right? 2020 vision, right? That's how we came into 2020, right? We had these resolutions and everything, and we just knew how our year was going to be. Well, come March, that all changed. And when you have that level of uncertainty that we've seen range in so many different areas and in arenas, from businesses to, organizations to residential homes to everything, when we see things just get affected across the board, like it doesn't really matter who you are or how much money you have, you've been affected by this regardless of whatever you want to, there's nothing you can do about it. And so saving for a rainy day is just a way of being prepared. You would rather be prepared than to not be prepared. Now, this basically goes all along with your budget and how things are with you financially. So you want to assess things properly. So that brings me to the next point, number 4, which is invest your money. Now, I know during times like this, everybody's so up in arms about investing their money, especially in the stock market, to the point like people like, oh, you shouldn't invest, it's going to crash. All right, so long story short is you can't time the market. You don't know when it's going to crash. Things have already been down. It's going up, and I did a video about why the stock market is going up right now. It's basically behind all the money that's being flowed into the government, and then it also has something to do with how much money we're also spending. Because you see companies like Amazon, they're over $3,000 a share. Well, it's pretty obvious why they're over $3,000 a share, because they're probably at your front door at least 2 to 3 times a week, just like everybody right now. So they've actually been able to use this time, and they've become very essential because of delivery that they can, they can bring to people's door when people aren't necessarily trying to go out. So during these times like these, it's definitely something you want to think about, is learning how to invest, getting the knowledge, and start investing. All you want to do is be consistent. Now, if you're over the age of 55 and you're watching this, then, investing for you may be a little different, and you might want to look into things that are more conservative, where the stocks, funds, or whatever, but you're looking into things that are a little bit less risky because you might need your money now. But investing is never a bad thing, and just being consistent alone can give you pretty good gains over a period of time. So learn how to invest. All right, number 5. Pay off your debt, pay down your debt. So when you get extra money, now's a good time to pay your debt, pay off your debt. So let's say, for example, you get a second stimulus and it's $1,200, right? And you have $500 or $800 that's left on like your vehicle, for example, or that's left on, like a credit card or something like that. Well, it wouldn't be a bad idea. Say if like your vehicle payment was $500 a month or something, you got $1,000 left or whatever the case is. But if you can just get rid of that debt now and just get it out the way, or you can start to pay down on debt so that way you have less debt, it's going to help you in the long run. Because like I said, if you don't know what's happening, for example, you're not too sure it may happen with your job, then the last thing you want to do is to put yourself in a position when you get laid off. We don't know what's happening with this unemployment, and then you don't have any money to take care of things, and now you're at risk of losing your place or losing your car, whatever the case is, if you have a loan on it, all because this situation wasn't your fault in the first place. However, it doesn't mean that you can't still plan around it. So paying down debt and giving some money towards the paying down debt, which also will help to boost your credit, which can be useful during times like this, depending on the circumstance. So I think that's self-explanatory, but paying off your debt and just kind of keeping in mind that, remember, we don't really know what's going to happen over the next 12 months, or maybe a year and a half, or maybe 2 years. So you want to think along the terms of just using wisdom in your approach to how you take care of your finances. Number 6, start a business. In times like these, it's definitely a great time to start a business, depending on the business. And I say depending on what it is because, yes, timing does matter in some businesses. But just being able to start a business, so let's say, for example, like we said, don't know what may happen with your job, not sure what's going to happen. Like, we've had thousands of retailers to just shut down. They're closing their doors, shutting down. You have the biggest movie theaters here in the U.S. not knowing what they're going to do and looking to file bankruptcy, or either they'd already done filed bankruptcy. You have so many different companies that we rely on that employ millions upon millions of people. So in the last 4 to 5 weeks, it's been an average of 1.3 to like 1.5 million people who have reported being unemployed, laid off, being affected, furloughed, or something like that. It has been constant ever since March. It's been above. When it first started, it was well above 1 million, but now it's been averaging over 1 million. And literally, these numbers don't really give justice to what's really going on. They're almost like just estimates based off of just one factor of just how people are, filing for unemployment. So what can starting a business do for you during this time? It can bring income to you and your family so that if you are affected, it doesn't mean that you can't make money. The last thing you need to be is in a position where you cannot get money coming into your household. So starting a business is something to look into, where it might be some minimal cost for you to get started, or some tools you need to purchase, or whatever. So number 7, learn a skill. So I just did a video on like the 10 top careers or businesses or whatever, like just on like that's been thriving and doing pretty good during this pandemic. So let's say, for example, if you want to learn a skill that could possibly cause you to be able to build a business or to get a better job. For example, if you want to, become a real estate agent, or if you want to train in something like, app development or something like that, things that are very essential right now, or train in like IT, things like these, where you can actually go and get a job that will pay you very well. And then, depending on what it is you're trying to learn, you can end up getting a job or starting a business in a field, in an area that's very essential, or that it's unaffected by times like these. So going forward, whether how much we come out of this or not, you're still able to earn some income. Or if everything's fine, maybe you just want to learn a skill because it's something you've always been interested in, and it might bring some fulfillment to you, which may bring some joy. There's nothing wrong with that as well, to help you get through this time, or just, to be able to see some good opportunities in your life, Number 8, if you have a business, invest back into it. So number 8, investing back into your business, investing in your business. So let's say, for example, if you have a business, or let's say you have a business and you have a course, or you have like some t-shirts, or you have something that you have right now, now's a good time to run some ads, right? Everybody's shopping online. But now's a good time to maybe run some ads, maybe to kind of get your information out there a little bit more. You don't have to spend all the money, but just taking some money towards that is not a bad idea. Even if you're like a real estate investor and there's some small things you can do to some property that you have, I mean, it can only work out in your benefit. Even just like if you're investing back into your home and you're looking to maybe do a refinance during this time, and you want to be able to get the maximum amount out of your home and get the maximum appraisal, then, being able to take some of that money to invest back into yourself, to invest back into your property or your business, whatever the case is not a bad idea. Number 9, life insurance. So now, is life insurance expensive? Not necessarily at all. But let's say if you don't have life insurance and you get life insurance that's $25 a month, you can go ahead and take out 12 months and say, this is going to be for the life insurance and this is going to pay for that. So 12 times 25, that is $300. So you can take $300 out and you can let that sit in an account or use that to pay, from your stimulus check to pay for that life insurance. But getting life insurance is important. Yeah, I know if you got millions and millions of dollars in the bank, $100 million in the bank, then do you need life insurance? I mean, I guess not, right? Because then I guess you can just pay for everything. However, that's not most people. And so having life insurance is important. We're in a pandemic. So if anything happens and you don't have life insurance and your family's left to take care of your stuff, the home, anything like that, you want to make sure they're left with something that will be able to ease the pain. And sometimes life insurance policies can actually spur a foundation of wealth for families when someone dies. And so getting life insurance is very important, especially in the Black household, because most of us don't really pay attention to that aspect of having life insurance. Number 10, investing in your health. We're in a pandemic. Now, how does this affect us financially by investing in your health? Well, I mean, you can get all the money you want, you can budget all you want, but if you're not taking care of yourself health-wise, then, so invest in your health, and no, I'm not talking about, getting a gym membership. Now, if you really want to do that, that's fine, but you can easily just buy some DVDs or whatever, or you can buy some, equipment for home, some workout gear, or buying some books or some pamphlets or something on healthy eating or whatever the case is, or taking a course on learning how to eat healthier or to eat this depending on your health ailments and things like that. Working on your health, investing in your health is definitely important during this time. All right, I think that's enough information. Now, if you have any other ideas that you think would be helpful for anyone else, feel free to leave that in the comments. But as stated, it's important for us to understand how to prepare and to plan ahead versus just to constantly be reactive and deal with the consequences as they come with no plan in place. So because we've already kind of seen how things have happened these last 4 months, we don't know what's happening next. We know that our government and they want to just reopen and they just keep pushing and all this other stuff, whatever, but there's still a big risk out here. So with that being said, so what happens when things regress? We already kind of know what it looks like. So what we want to do is we want to make sure that we're prepared to be able to handle what's coming up next, or to be able to soften the blow, if anything at that. Do we really know? No, we really don't. But there's nothing wrong with being prepared. So that way you can have some peace and you can take care of you and your family. So I hope this video has been helpful. Be sure to like and subscribe. Hey, and give me a comment if this has been helpful or if there's any other ideas you can think of, and y'all come back to here. All right? Peace.